Welcome to Vehicle Preparedness 101, presented by Joy of Resilience Workshops. In this video, we're going to talk about survival essentials checklist, starting with water, food, sleep, shelter, personal safety, hygiene, clothing, power, and finally emotional well-being. Let's start with sleep essentials. This is a bed frame that's 5 feet 4 inches in length, 2 feet wide. The height in the back is 8 inches, 12 inches in the front. And you can see that the folding door that I'm using as my base can be pulled up using the ribbon that I've attached. Let's go over some of the essentials that are going to provide shelter and sleep items as well. Now, it's important to understand that when you're providing for shelter, you have to keep in mind that there are different seasons of the year that you're going to need different items. So this is basically everything. You're not going to need all of it for summer. You're going to need more items during the winter to keep you warm. So as I walk you through each of these items, first we have the Ohuhu hammock. It can be strung using the straps on the left here to put it between trees, and those straps are adjustable. There's a mosquito netting in the blue package, and then a sleeping bag in the mesh bag. And then next to that, I have a black air lounger, and I could sleep in it if I wanted to, but this is an optional item. It requires a fairly windy day to gather up enough air, unless you want to use the pump. Then I've got a rechargeable lantern, and next to that in the blue bag, I have some spare poles for tarps that I might want to suspend over. Now in the next larger blue bag, I have an air mattress, and then behind that is a lantern that uses batteries. Next to the lantern, we see a bag full of bungee cords and ropes, S-hooks, string, anything that I might need to suspend tarps, for example, or attach something to the roof. And then I have an air pump. Beside that, I have several sizes of tarps. I recommend all kinds of tarps because you never know when you're going to need them. It's especially handy to put over the tent in a particularly rainy area. And then, of course, I have a tent as well. Now, the silver poles that you see at the bottom are actually tarp poles as well, and they extend so I can make the tarp really high. This is the rear cab of the vehicle that allows me to store all of those items. And you can see I've cleaned it out. It no longer has the seats that come with the vehicle. When I decide I want to put stuff in it, I put a tarp down, pack in all of the items that I'm not going to need to use very often. So you don't want to put stuff in there that you need to use on a regular basis. Here's another set of items that I also need to account for if I'm looking to be as fully prepared as possible. So all of these items, again, may be required on a regular basis, or they may just be necessary in extreme emergencies, but we're going to go over these as well. Now, starting with the left-hand side, we have some garden tools, including a small shovel, which can always be useful. I actually have a metal detector as well. In that little tiny pouch, you can purchase this at the dollar store. It's just a folding shovel, and then an axe and a machete. Axe is good for trees, machete is good for tall grasses. And then we have some zip ties. Zip ties are good for many different things. You never know when you're going to need them. I also have walkie-talkies, though I typically travel alone. It's actually kind of handy to grab those if you happen to be with somebody, and that way you can separate and you'll yet still be able to get a hold of each other. I have some ice cleats for winter, a thermos obviously, knee pads if I'm digging, matches, and then in the bag I actually have clay pots, plant pots, which are really handy for dispersing heat in cold weather safely. So there's a top and then the base, and I just turn the plant pot over, the clay pot over. I've got some batteries, duct tape, another smaller thermos, citronella candle for mosquitoes. I have mosquito jackets, booster cables, even a long electrical cord because you may be in a place where the power is available. This is actually a really handy flashlight that has flashers as well, and it is rechargeable. Then various garbage bags on the lower right there. And then I also have a fishing pole. So these are some of the supplies. Much of that will fit in the back of the van, but it's, again, depending on whether you're going to use them or not, I might want to put some of them at the front. So this is how it looks when it's in that cavity that I prepared at the back of the van. The van is now ready for the bed frame. On the floor of the van, I have laid down a mat, foam mat, to protect the carpet. It does cover the stow and go cavities. So if you do have a mat, you'll need to split wherever you need access to those storage areas. Underneath the bed frame, I have a milk crate with various sprays and cleaners, which helps to support that end of the bed. The position of the legs is designed to allow me to get access to the rear and the middle storage areas. So there's a lot of thought put into where the bed legs are and also how to support the one end of the bed towards the back of the van. Here I have a small plastic storage cabinet with 3 drawers. I've had to level off the base of it because otherwise it would lean forward with the slope of the van going towards the front. So I've attached the wooden base and added a little bit of quarter round in order to make sure that it was level once I installed it. In this cabinet, I keep clothing, beddings, slippers, and other miscellaneous items that I use within the van so that I can keep everything handy. This is the front of the cabinet. It does get turned around as it is positioned within the van. That way I can open it from the inside. Generally speaking, I only need to open it from the inside. But it fits nicely beside the bed. There's even a little bit of a gap between the two. Now the bedding includes a mattress, sleeping bag, and blanket, as well as a pillow. And as you can see, I've actually put the mattress inside the sleeping bag because it's a fairly large sleeping bag. And then I cover it with a blanket and then, of course, my pillow. So let's take a look at some additional essentials for hygiene. Here I've got a backpack and an overnight bag, and these 2 items are really handy to keep separate from whatever's in the storage cabinet because the backpack holds a change of clothes, extra shoes, lots of things that I wouldn't normally carry and wouldn't be able to fit in the toiletry bag that you're seeing here. So here I've got my toothpaste, bath sponge, towel, change of underwear, socks, brush, deodorant, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, both of these fit nicely underneath here at the back of the van, so they tuck right in beside the milk crate. And the most important thing about hygiene is having somewhere to go to the bathroom. Here I have a simple solution. It's just a plastic container with a tight-fitting lid. I have the women's version of a Wee Willie and compostable bags, as well as a supply of toilet paper. In the basket on the right, we have a broom and dustpan and a selection of microfiber towels. Once you've got your bed sorted, you'll want to create these homemade thermal window coverings, and I store mine under the bed when I'm not using them. In addition to that, you might also want to set up a USB fan and a light next to your bed. I also keep some water, some earplugs, and an eye covering so that I can sleep comfortably. Next, let's talk about survival food essentials. This is a 2-burner Coleman stove with the propane tanks right behind in the safest place in the vehicle. I also have an extra thermos there. And when it comes to food, it really is a matter of personal preference. I've chosen foods that will keep for a fair amount of time, and I put them in a Coleman cooler, which I can empty out and put frozen ice in there if I want to keep more food cool. But I do have a small cooler that I purchased off Amazon. I'll put the link in the description. This would be for things like produce, eggs, cheese, milk, things like that. And it is a 12-volt connection to your cigarette lighter. Here we have a bin with dishes and utensils. Next to it, I have a water jug. On the top of the water jug, I have this USB rechargeable water spout, which allows me to use the water hands-free. I do have additional drinking water jugs as well. And this water jug fits at the end of the bed, and the bin of dishes and utensils fits inside the cabinet, under the cabinet, which also fits at the end of the bed, like so. Let's take a look at some safety and security essentials. Here I've got a panel on the back of the passenger seat which has things like mosquito repellent, rain ponchos, tissues, things like that that keeps them handy. And then on the passenger seat I have an umbrella, always handy. Next to the umbrella I have a self-defense club which also serves as a flashlight. Beside that I have a steering wheel club to lock my steering wheel when I'm in a sketchy area, protects my vehicle. And then I also have a toolbox, and the toolbox actually fits right underneath the passenger seat. In addition, I have a zip bag with accessories like latex glove, lighter, band-aids, elastics, earplugs, playing cards, and anything else. And finally, I have some floor baskets, hand wipes, and towels. In the door, I keep my maps, a lighter, some extra shopping bags, and also I keep a tape measure because it's actually proven to be really handy. Now on the driver's side I have a first aid kit which fits nicely underneath the driver's seat, and then next to that I have an accessory kit for cell phone backup battery, and then beside that I also have an OBD device. Now this OBD device plugs into the position underneath your steering wheel and under the dash, and it connects to your phone to diagnose engine error lights, and it's proven to also be extremely useful, if only for the reason that I'm not always sure whether a problem is really serious or not. So this actually gives me a sense of whether I should go immediately to a mechanic, so I recommend that. And then of course having a dash cam is nowadays very essential. Here we have a 72-hour emergency backpack available online. It includes all the essentials, first aid kit, food, water tablets, and many other essentials for a single person for 3 days. I also have a rain outfit that I can wear in case of lots of rain. And I have a backup battery booster for my vehicle battery, compressor, tire repair kit, inverter, candle, vacuum cleaner, and folding stool. A lot of these will fit in the center storage area in the stow and go space. As we move into the survival essentials for power, you'll note that I have a Jackery solar panel and power bank. You'll need to do your research to find out what capacity you'll need. This is required for things like laptops and other devices. Now, in addition to that, here's an example of how I have my system set up when I do need to use my laptop. I actually have the ability to put my passenger seat all the way down, and then when I sit in it, I have a small folding table that I can use to comfortably place my laptop in front of me and be able to type without any interference on my head, and I can sit there for hours. So it's actually worked out well. As we prepare our vehicle for the final survival essentials category, well-being, physical and emotional, there are several dimensions to this preparedness. First, your physical health concerns, supplements and prescriptions, planning for emotional and mental health concerns, as well as entertainment and recreation. And there are a lot of resources we can put in our vehicle to help us with all of these. Our emotional well-being might require spiritual resources, or journaling, books, nonfiction or fiction, letter writing materials, drawing materials, puzzles and games, and finally videos. Once you have gathered all your physical and emotional resources together, you will feel much more confident and capable of facing any emergency with courage and resilience. I wish you all the best on your journey. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions, ideas, suggestions, or feedback. Thank you for watching.